This cast on is excellent for knit one, purl one ribbing that is worked flat. It creates a nice tidy edge that is also very elastic. For this cast on, you're going to want some waste yarn that is preferably the same weight as the yarn you'll be using for your project, and you'll also want this to be contrasting yarn. You're going to want to cast on half as many stitches as you're going to need. So for instance, if I need 29 stitches, that is not divided in half easily, so I'm going to round up to 30. Half of 30 is 15, so I'm going to just cast on 15 stitches, and you can use any cast on you like. I'm going to use the long tail cast on. So once you have your stitches cast on, you're going to knit a row, then you're going to purl a row, and now I'm done with my waste yarn, so I'm just going to snip this off. Now I'm going to bring in my project yarn, and just to keep this first stitch from being too loose, I'm going to hold the tail of my new yarn and the waste yarn together. And now I'm going to, with my project yarn, knit a row, then I'm going to purl a row, and I'm going to knit one more row, so now when you turn the work to the wrong side, you should be able to easily see where you worked the first row with the project yarn. And so we're going to be picking up these bumps to create our stitches. The first one can be a little tricky, so before you get your needles in, if you just want to pull on the edge of your fabric a little bit and take a look, the first stitch we're going to be picking up is this one right here. Okay, so we're going to purl the first stitch, and now we're going to pick up this little bump, if you can see that. You're just going to take your right needle and dip down and grab that little bump, put that onto your left needle, and then you're going to knit that stitch. Okay, so we have a purl and a knit. We're going to purl the next stitch. Again, with our right needle, we're going to find the next bump, pick up with your right needle, place it onto the left needle, and knit. Purl the next stitch on the left needle. Pick up that next stitch, knit, oops, I got a little bit of the waste yarn there. There we go. Okay, so you're going to continue purling a stitch from the left needle, picking up a stitch, and knitting it until you have worked all of the stitches on your left needle. So now, on the wrong side, you will have something that looks like this. Okay, so turning this over to the right side, I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 27, 28, 29 stitches. And that is what I wanted for my project, 29 stitches. So now I'm going to just work in the knit one, purl one ribbing for a couple of rows here. So if you discover that maybe you need one more stitch than what you ended up with, you can just knit into the front and back of the last stitch. Or maybe you accidentally have too many stitches, just knit the last two together. So this is what we have after working in the knit one, purl one rib for a few rows. And once you have just a stable piece of fabric, it doesn't really matter how many rows you do, we are going to pick out the waste yarn. So I'm just going to find my tail here along the cast on edge, and I'm just going to start pulling this out. You can use a tapestry needle to help with this part if you need to. Some cast-ons might be easier to pull out than others, but long tail's not too difficult. If you just give the edge a little bit of a pull, it can loosen up the stitches and you can pull the end out easier. And once you loosen up this last little knot, the waste yarn should pull right out. Okay, and there you go. A nice, neat, and tidy edge for your knit one, purl one ribbing.